Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Rise Above TV, where we are empowering humanity and supporting unity. You're watching P3, the place where we feature individuals who've tapped into their power, passion, and purpose. I'm your host, Janie Terrazas, and today I have my partner, Justin Bustamante, also known as Justin the Change Artist. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Janie.
Yeah, this is episode number 12 of season 2. And I thought, you know what, why not be a part of this final episode that will allow us to both share what power, passion, and purpose mean to us. So let us jump right into it. What does power mean to you? Do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, power. Okay. Power to me is personal power, the power to direct your own life, to get out of the passenger seat and start driving and manifesting and following through with your goals and achieving your dreams, the life of your dreams.
Yeah, and I really do believe like self-care is at the center of that, like self-care and self-awareness. What has that been like for you to shift from victim mentality to this empowerment mindset?
It's been eye-opening, to say the least. You never realize, you can't imagine how and what you're going to have to rewrite in your mind and in your belief systems, or have to give up altogether to achieve the life that you want, And so for me, it's been very eye-opening, to say the least, because things that I didn't think would hold me back were holding me back. And it was very, very interesting to start to understand them in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the more self-aware we become, the more conscious we become. And it allows us in real time to course correct, the old patterns and the old behaviors. And when you're able to overcome a trigger that used to be something that would, cause you to have that reaction to life versus responding,
Okay.
That's part of that empowerment for sure.
For sure.
I definitely think that caring about yourself enough to heal the things that you need to heal so that you can rise above the old victim mentality into more of, life is happening for me, not to me. I'm having a relationship with life. There's an essence of me in it. I'm creating my reality. And that's a huge change in a lot of ways for oneself. It's like becoming an entirely new being for some people. It's like rewriting your entire identity that's tied to your personality. And it's very humbling, and it takes humility, funny enough, to really step into all of your power. Like, is there anything you want to share on the power of humility and how it sort of plays a role in the evolution of a human being?
I can tell you how it plays a role. Still working on embracing the power that comes with it. As a veteran of the Marine Corps, humility isn't something I'm really used to. But it is very healing, and it does open the door to a lot of great things, and in a lot of different ways too. So I feel I could tell the story in a way to say that I was humble with my feelings and what I was feeling that whole night. Everything happened, and just responding to it and obeying it, and just saying, hey, you know what, whatever happens, but I'm gonna honor my feelings in this moment for this, and whatever happens. And it's been for the better, right? But it's also been the one thing that I learned that I would have to maintain is this faith in honoring that part of yourself and things turning out okay. And that has been a learning experience for me, for sure.
I think too, so many people live in the head, and for one to really become whole and to live a more meaningful, rich, abundant life in all ways is to really understand the power of the heart. And I know that's very scary for a lot of people, but this is where your power lies, is in the heart. And we even have a brain in our heart that's tied to like that intuitiveness. We have instinct and intuition. And I think having the ability to connect with that intuition within yourself and then learning how to trust it is also part of owning our power and becoming an empowered being, when you say?
Yes, absolutely, for
Yeah.
sure. Because man, power's a heart. It's
Mm,
intense.
it's intense. I mean, that's a lot of feeling. That's like emotions, and most people don't really want to deal with emotions, but it's important for us to understand them and understand how they make our bodies feel.
Mm-hmm.
And then learn how to regulate those emotions so that we don't always stay stuck in the heavier spaces. What's a good practice for you when you kind of feel like a lot is going on and you're going through a lot and you're feeling the weight of the world, so to speak? What is something you like to do to help alleviate that pressure?
Stretch.
Yeah, stretching.
For me, this whole honoring the body and self-love, self-care thing has really relit a fire I had for
Mhm.
maintaining, a certain amount of ability as I get older. Um, and I remember it feeling like a chore sometimes. Like, oh, I got to do this to maintain that. But now that I understand it in this new way, it's more of an excitement. Like, oh, I get to do this. This is a part of it. And I really do feel like after stretching a certain body part wherever I'm feeling tension, that after my muscles loosen up, I'm able to receive more from the
Mhm.
world, almost through osmosis, straight through the skin,
Yeah.
straight through to my muscles. And it's been very, oh man, it's been just a lot of things. We'll just say interesting, but to get to know, the body and the relationship in that way, it's been really, really cool.
Yeah, it's like reconnecting to the
Yeah.
body, to the intelligence in the body.
Mhm.
And going back to that, like, I feel like what powers up my body and what gives energy to all life and what allows life to even exist in the first place is tied to, this love, this energy.
Mhm.
And I like to attribute it to, to me, God is life, is light, is energy. And we all have light coursing through our bodies, and the heart is 5,000 times more electromagnetic than the brain. So we want to honor the power of our brain and our mind and our intellect, but we also want to honor the intelligence of the heart. And right now, the world needs a lot more love. And love is about intelligence, it's about objectivity and compassion and cooperation and collaboration and harmony, and looking to see what is for my greater good, but also for the greater good of others. And I think there's a lot of power too in understanding what it means to be of service. So we're here to be of service to ourselves, learn how to love ourselves, become our own best friends, become our own beloved, because we've gotten really good at becoming our adversaries and our enemies. We are our worst enemy. And so it benefits us greatly to learn how to flex the other guy and feed the other guy so that we can be a little bit more balanced. And when that dark voice steps forth, we have the power and the energy to overcome it and rise above it and not always listen to it. So that to me is also part of where our power comes from. One of the self-care practices that I like to use when I'm feeling a little down in the dumps is I play my harmonica. So singing and dancing and playing an instrument is a big part of how I lift my own spirit. And the harmonica is awesome because I've never had any training on it. Anybody could pretty much play a harmonica, and it's really awesome breath work. I also like to take dark showers. I know that's something that you do. And when I just feel like it's sensory overload, I kind of just turn the bathroom into sort of like a cave and a sauna, and kind of just go in there and retreat. And then I finish it up with like cold water. And that seems to kind of really like help bring you back into the present moment and ground you. So music is something that really feeds my soul, and I think that's a great way to kind of go into passion, because you and I are very passionate people. We're passionate about a lot of things, and I'm grateful to be with somebody who is as intensely passionate as I am. And that's a good thing, and that also has its downside sometimes. But I love that we're both passionate about the work that we do. So, what would you like to say about passion?
So the things like stretching and dark showers and meditation, they all help me kind of navigate this plane and this body I was given. And it because because I do love what I do. What I do is help people. It really gives me this well of emotion to be able to use to connect with whoever's in front of me, because I want them to love themselves as much as I'm loving myself, and that means in all the tiny little ways. I want them to heal. I want them to experience the same healing that I want, that I have, that I've experienced through you. And it really, yeah, it's something to share. And when we talk about passion, that's my passion. My passion's helping people, but not just helping people. It's the way you help them. You can find it on podcasts somewhere else.
Yeah.
About the way I was living life before,
Yes.
and not having this connection, these emotions to swim through, which has their downsides. They do, but I'd rather be experiencing them the way I am now than the way I was before.
Yeah, because you were pretty much numbing yourself, or because of trauma, you had been numbed to your emotions. So reconnecting to them has definitely been a process. And I know a lot of men can relate to what it is that you're going through. And I want to honor all the gentlemen, that's what I like to call you guys, the men who are doing the work, the personal growth work, to really undo and unlearn all the things that you were taught, and heal all the things that had kept you from being able to enjoy relationship better, with yourself, but also with those that you care about and that you love. And that's really, really important. And I think there's a lot of power in that too. Is like having healthy relationships fuels you from the inside. And it's one of the things that is a factor in longevity. So having healthy social connections and healthy relationships, intimate relationships, are very important. And I'm passionate about this relationship. I'm passionate about the work that I do, and I'm passionate about having fun and making sure that I have room and time for play. It's really something that I kind of sprinkle in my day, and you're really passionate about play.
Absolutely, gotta play, gotta have fun. That's something that's one thing that has stayed consistent through everything. Is I was always playing. You have to play, you have to laugh, you have to joke to make it through some parts of your life. And here I get to do it just for the hell of it. And it's like double the fun.
Yeah, and we love karaoke therapies. We have a karaoke machine, and we try our best to go do karaoke every once in a while. We both happen to have that performer in us. To be honest with you, I think we all have performers in us. It's just the way we're raised. Sometimes it's condemned to really express themselves.
Yeah, for sure. If you're the kid that has a lot of energy and you're always bouncing off the walls, you're the problem child in some households. Why can't you just sit down? Well, are we supposed to?
Yeah, I know. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of energy. We both have a lot of energy, so we have to find ways to exert that. And that's one of them. And then you also like bike riding, and we like to do a lot of physical activities. We go to the park a lot. Nature is a huge non-negotiable for the both of us. Like, we've got to go out to a park every once in a while, or just go outside and go for a walk and just sit by a tree. It's important to balance out green time and screen time, I say. So yeah, so we have a lot of similar interests, which is really nice. And I think having a passion for life. Now, that doesn't mean that we're always like, oh, yeah, rainbows and flowers and everything's great. But overall, there's an attitude and an outlook and a perspective that we have. And when you have an optimistic, positive outlook on life and on yourself, it's gonna play a big factor in your overall well-being. And so I feel like you've sort of been in that doom and gloom, dark side space of life for a long time, and now you're kind of coming into the sunshine, And I know it's a little bright sometimes for you, but the adjustment, now that you're more comfortable with peace and pleasure versus pain and suffering, or would you say that you're more in that space now?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because there's a lot of power in being comfortable, being at peace, because we're like addicted to stress and
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you grew up in trauma, pretty much, if you grew up in a household that always had you in fight or flight, you're addicted to stimulation. So
Yeah.
if you do find yourself at peace, you're probably on your phone or lost in some series on Netflix. And that too is stimulation. So it's good to just have days or a time where you cut off maybe an hour or two in the middle of the day where you do something other than technology. You read a book or
100%.
something.
Yeah, we also like to
Paint.
paint. Yes, we usually, if we go to Target or if we're at Walmart or something, we will usually look around and see if there's any specials going on things like just little random toys and creative art stuff that we can end up using, at a later time. And I think that's another good way for couples to connect. And purpose, I feel like our purpose is to learn what unconditional love actually means. There's healthy boundaries in that. And part of our power comes from our voice and being able to say yes when we mean yes and no when we mean no. And there's a lot of people that struggle with people pleasing tendencies. And so when you're able to overcome those codependent symptoms, it's also liberating. And purpose is about doing your best to live the best possible life that you can. How can you embody kindness as much as possible?
Yeah, for sure.
That's part of purpose,
Part
I
of it.
feel.
Yeah, my turn with purpose. So for me, purpose is honoring you. We all have that gift we have. Um, I happen to be blessed with this ability to be any character, and it helped a lot in my time as a magician and mentalist when I was performing professionally. And it serves me well in the work that I do now, because now I can sit and connect with anybody. The more you dig into that part of yourself and you find that gift, that thing that you can do only like you can,
Yeah.
it becomes your purpose to put that out there and hone that and honor that, and make it your art, make it your craft, make it your project, your lifelong project, is to know and understand your light, but also use your light. There's a lot of great singers out there that aren't singing anybody, and I'm not saying everyone's going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
But maybe you should be leading the choir at church, or something.
Yeah.
Maybe you give a hell of a speech around the right people, and you should be giving a sermon.
Mm-hmm. Or be a public speaker of some
Something.
kind. Exactly.
Yeah.
An inspiration igniter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's really important for us to tap into our unique talents and gifts and interests and see how we can share it with others, because to keep it to ourselves actually is debilitating. It's like if you want to be fully alive, then it benefits us greatly to allow those to bloom, from within. And then also learn how to enjoy them. You mentioned magic, and I know that's something that you're super passionate about. And you were even able to use your love for magic and your gift for it to share it with kids in hospitals and stuff. And so it kind of goes back to that giving. You could have just stayed in your own little place and maybe done it for your friends and family, but you had the courage to go past and beyond that.
And I want to point something out about that time, because when I did that, because I know what you're referring to. When I did that, I was coming off of doing a lot of work just back to back. There, I was losing the passion and the energy behind what I was doing, and it was really what people were hiring me for. That I always heard people say, "I can tell how much you love this by the way you perform and the way you just do it. It shines through." And I was very proud of that, and I was starting to lose that. I was taking on too much work, and my head got really big. Look at me. And I leaned more towards quantity, and it started losing some quality.
Yeah.
So I left the city, I left San Antonio, and because I left San Antonio, you kind of can't do magic professionally anymore. San Antonio's prime for it. But I got a real job, and I couldn't let it sit with me. I had to do something with it. And I thought, if I if I was going to do this again, right, I needed to remember what I was doing it for. And it was for the other people. I got into magic to give people the same experience I had when I first saw a magic trick, which was the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want, and it can be real. And I wanted to give that to people. And I thought back to that, and I said, if I needed to see a magic trick, if a magic trick could be the only thing that would make my day, where would I be? What would I be going through? And as I'm going through this in my head, I'm passing by the children's hospital. I said, hey, I'm there. I'm going to go there. So these were kids that were in the hospital for a few weeks already, maybe a month. Some had surgery, some, had a cast put on. So they're just there, as it sets and stuff. But I went around on that floor. If there was like 3 levels, that would be level 2, right? Okay. Where I started. But then a director or some doctor, after going consistently, pulls me aside and says, hey, how do you feel about blood and seeing stuff like that? So, well, I'm a veteran in the military, pretty comfortable with things like that. And she took me down to kids who had just got out of surgery. They were like in recovery for me, like maybe had they got a limb amputated, and they got their appendix removed, any kind of just surgery at period where they were just, it was crazy to see these kids on very strict diets and just in the moods they were in and just where they were. And it really, man, you want to talk about doing magic for the right reasons. There was purpose there. That's why I needed to do that. That's what I needed to find. And it was amazing doing that and hearing that. And I feel like purpose ties into that, because had I not honored my purpose in magic, because I can't not do magic. You can ask her. My fingers are always fidgeting. If I have a coin in my hand, I'm rolling it around. I'm practicing transfers. I pick something up and I can't help but think of what I would do if I was doing a magic trick with this. Yeah. And had I ignored that, I would have never had that experience. Nor would they have. They wouldn't have had it either. But because honored, I listened to that part of myself, and it was the first domino in a series of events that really let me know that magic was more than a phase in my life. It was my gift. It was like, look where you're at, dude.
That was God saying, hey,
remember, you got this, and it's not worthless. It's there's value here, and you need to honor it.
It's delivering wonder and awe. And you can even look up the power of awe. How often do you sort of like lose your breath and get excited about something? Like kids, they're experiencing awe and wonder all the time because they're learning new things. But even as adults, we can continue to have that childlike eye and that sort of outlook and that desire to seek wonder and awe, be wonder and awe, and then share it with others. So that's a really cool story. I love that you brought that up, especially because of the nudge that you got. And, I think we're always getting those little nudges and we don't always listen to them. But when we do, beautiful things happen. So for me, I think, power, passion, and purpose, they all do tie together. And I was saying earlier, it's part of our purpose is to understand what unconditional love means and how do we embody that and exude that in our waking day as much as we possibly can. And also tap into our natural gifts and talents and use them to our best ability and not be afraid, because fear really is just debilitating and robs you of breath and robs you of life and robs you of opportunities that, like this one that you had with the kids. If you don't just take a leap of faith and just say yes more than you say no, I think just us being open to, possibilities and opening our minds, opening our hearts, that's exactly what the world needs more of right now, is open-minded people. And there's a lot to be said too about finding your tribe. You don't even have to go out and find them. I feel like once you start living this life, you start meeting other individuals that are like-minded, that are supporting the new lifestyle that you're, or the new life that you're writing,
for sure.
that you're designing.
Absolutely.
And I want to say thank you so much for being with us today and for choosing to do real relationship with me.
Absolutely.
If you haven't already checked out our podcast, Mindful Love with Justin and Janie, we record candid conversations that share some insight into our relationship and into our personal transformation and what it's like to use the safe communication method, because that's basically how we're able to keep an honest, open line of communication with each other about everything and anything, because the only way to do relationship is to do it real. So go check that out. Are there any last words that you would like to share with our viewers?
Be humble. Be humble and remind yourself that what you're feeling is real, and you need to honor that. You need to accept what it is that's happening and then take action to change it. Okay, because if not, it's just going to keep happening and then it'll get worse. No one deserves to live in a life of pain, no matter how small.
Exactly. Excellent words of advice. Thank you so much again. And I want to thank all of our guests that were featured on season 2 of P3. You delivered some wonderful stories that are inspiring and motivational. I want to thank the viewers for supporting Rise Above TV endeavors. Your likes, shares, and follows are greatly appreciated because they help spread the love. Subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channel for more mindful content. Stay tuned for season 3, when we'll be meeting more individuals who have tapped into their power, passion, and purpose. Till next time, peace be in us.